Homestead Miami Speedway in South Florida, the site of the final race of the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup season, the race that will determine the new series champion. Never has the sport seen a day like this, the closest championship race in series history. Today, 5 drivers have a chance to make a lifelong dream come true. But when the checkered flag waves, only one of them will have earned the title of champion. Take a look at the standings and the starting positions. Kurt Busch was the last car in qualifying on Friday. He took the pole. Jimmie Johnson starts 39th, the worst starting position in his 111 career races. Jeff Gordon third in the standings, 5th on the grid. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Mark Martin need a win and some help today. Maximum point gain possible in one race, 156. The math eliminates the other 5 drivers.
And here we go with the starting lineup for today's Ford 400.
Kurt Busch, championship leader on the pole. On the outside is Greg Biffle.
And that's a statement. He did that on the second lap, which is tough to do. And like you said, Alan, he went out and did that, put it on the line, and that's impressive.
Yeah, how easy to crash a car on a qualifying lap when you're hanging it out, right? Sir. There's Jeff Gordon in row 3.
And my thought is, Greg Biffle, is he going to fight Kurt Busch on that first lap? Let's ask him. Greg Biffle, Benny Parsons, you got me?
Got you, BP.
You know, if that 97 car leads the first lap, that's 5 points. How much resistance are you going to give him?
Well, he's my teammate, and through thick and thin, I gotta give the courtesy, work with him here, give him 5 points. I got a really fast race car today, and I owe it to the National Guard and my team to lead as much of the race as I can. But we're going to give him a little bit on the first lap here.
Well, all right. Good luck today.
Well, there you go. That's the importance of having a good teammate and being up front.
I mean, just think if one of the Hendrick cars are on the outside or one of the DEI cars on the outside, Kurt Busch would have to really race for that first lap.
And turn 1, lap 1 is always such a tense time. It's got to be a little relief to Kurt if he and Greg Biffle have had this conversation already.
Right. It takes the pressure off the drivers in the front row right now, knowing what the other guy is going to do. And you can say, hey, look, you know, I'm going to take the inside and let me get clear and get that first lap behind me. And like you said, it's going to be real busy behind him.
You've been watching the starting lineup come by. We have not seen yet the second place driver in the championship.
And we're not going to see him in this row.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, not even in this row. But back in 39th, his worst start in his career is Jimmie Johnson.
But, you know, like I said earlier, he can get up to the front. He's got a good race car. He's got a good race team. He just has to be careful, get through it. But it'd be great for him to have a yellow come out in about 15, 20 laps. So all those cars he passed, he can just race that mark because the leaders are going to take off. And they're going to be a lot faster than the guys in the back racing traffic.
Mike Bliss with an engine change, Jeff Burton with an engine change, Casey Mears with a backup car. After a qualifying crash, they dropped to the end of the field, and you see a lot of cars here trying to make this 43-car Ford 400 grid.
And the most notable was Kyle Petty.
Well, here we go. Bet there's more than a few butterflies in those race cars right now.
But this is what they've been waiting for. They want to get this thing going. As soon as that green flag drops, butterflies will be gone.
267 laps, 400 miles. The Ford 400 is underway.
And there you see Greg Biffle giving the 97 car plenty of room getting into turn 1. Uh-oh, we got trouble already in turn 1.
Cars in the wall. It's toward the back of the field. Was Jimmie Johnson in it? It's Mike Bliss. And is that Hermie Sadler in the 02?
Yes, it is.
Jimmie Johnson got through. Wow.
Well, there's one lucky episode he got through.
Mike Bliss and Hermie Sadler were at the back of the grid. This was almost at the very tail end of the field.
Now, in NASCAR rules, when the caution flag comes out, the field is frozen. So Kurt, at about 50 miles per hour, crosses the start-finish line as the leader, receiving 5 bonus points.
That'll be the easiest 5 points he gets today.
What happened? Turn 1, lap 1. Bliss coming at you left of the screen.
Hermie just goes around, looks like.
No, he made contact with somebody. Somebody hit him in the left front, and he lost control.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I see this.
Yeah, he was way up high going into turn 1. There were 3 abreast. There was no room, and looks like Bliss just spun it to avoid Hermie.
Jimmy Johnson. That's the danger lane you're in when you start in the back of the pack. Caution's out early at Homestead. Back at Homestead, back under green after a couple of quick cautions. To start the Ford 400, Greg Biffle is the race leader.
And just think how relieved that Kurt Busch is. He's seen 2 crashes already and has been way behind him.
Unfortunately, the guy that's been back there, not too crazy about being back there.
Kevin
Jimmy
Harvick
Johnson.
taking 7th place from Ricky Rudd, and here comes Jeff Gordon again.
Heath Newman, the 12 car.
That's for 3rd place. Now Kurt Busch sees that bright orange hood in his rearview mirror.
That's sliding up there. Casey Kane.
That's not a shock. Casey Kane just, I don't think he wanted to be that high this early.
Gave up a spot to Bobby Labonte. That's 5th place. Bobby sends him down. Casey back to 6th. Jimmy Johnson on pit road under this last caution. Bill?
Well, Jimmy Johnson, Alan, started 39th, his worst starting spot in 111 Cup races. He has pitted twice, once for fuel. The last time he was on pit road for 4 tires, fuel, and to repair a little damage he got on the right rear of the car. He's not really thrilled about starting at the back of the pack. Listen to him talking to Chad Canals.
Just slide your tires? Sure, I don't think that I did, but get me the hell out of from being back here, man. Not a lot I can do right now, man.
Jimmy Johnson's going to have to race his way out of that poor position as the 24, his teammate Jeff Gordon, battles with championship leader Kurt Busch.
2nd place, Jeff Gordon. And Ryan Newman in the 12 going to try and slip Kurt Busch back another spot.
Hey, Matt, this 24 car is looking pretty good right now.
He sure is, BP. During the final practice session, Jeff came on the radio and said, I have a friction grind feel in the steering wheel. They changed everything, and I mean everything, under this race car in the chassis department. The steering box, the lower, the uppers, transmission, you name it. They changed everything, not taking a chance that they might miss something that could knock them out of this championship. So far, Jeff has said nothing on the radio. Nothing is good.
Nothing is good. And his car's working good, and he's focused. A lot of cars sliding up the racetrack. It seems like a lot of guys are getting into the corner maybe just a little bit hard, and boy, when the car takes off, it really takes off.
And right now, the biggest fan that Greg Biffle has on earth is Kurt Busch, because he wants him to lead. Don't let that 24 car get up there, lead a lap, and maybe lead the most laps and get the maximum points. Stay in front, Greg Biffle.
We'll check this a lot through the day. Points as they run. Kurt Busch, slim gap over Jeff Gordon. Now, if you're not familiar with the way that the points are passed out and the championship is awarded in NASCAR, there's a scale of points that goes down from 180 all the way down to 34. The winner of the race gets 180 points plus, obviously if he won, he led a lap, he gets 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Then it breaks down, second gets 170, then it's 5 points back to 6th, then 4 points per position 6th to 11th, then 3 points per position from 11th on down to 43rd, plus 1 more bonus.
5 points to the car, the team that leads the most laps.
So the max a guy can get in the race is 190. The minimum is 34. Kurt Busch back to 4th place. Bill?
Driving, not talking. That's probably a good sign. This is a brand new race car. They did test here. This is its first race. Crew Chief Jimmy Fennig knows it's a very long 400 miles. Don't look for any panic. We're fine right now.
Kurt's state of mind throughout this weekend, it's been kind of hard to read. He seemed pretty calm on the outside, but I just can't, you can't believe he didn't have the big butterflies.
No, you definitely have the big butterflies. The biggest problem in his situation is it's his to give away. Everybody else has got nothing to lose, and they can go for the win, and hey, go for it. But Kurt Busch has got it to give away, and that has got to be gut-wrenching. Bill?
I think you're right, Wally, and Kurt's put a really good face on this week. We talked to him Friday morning and then again Saturday morning, off camera and then on camera. On camera, smooth, very eloquent, able to convey his feelings. But before and after the interviews, he was very cautious, very tentative, almost too quiet to believe that's really Kurt Busch, so you know it was playing with his mind.
Yeah, the pressure on these guys has been incredible the last few weeks, and you notice this is huge.
I mean, Friday morning, when the cars are going through inspection, just before practice, you go by the 97 car, he must have had 20 photographers there, all wanting that picture of Kurt Busch, talking to Jimmy Finney. Kurt Busch by his car.
Kurt right now running in 4th spot after leading the opening lap of the race. Greg Biffle out in front. Marty, what do you got for us?
Trying to do the best to help his teammate out, trying to keep Jeff Gordon behind him. And he came on the radio, said this car is so good, we should have given it to Kurt Busch to race this weekend. I think this car is going to win the race.
Well, that might be a stretch, giving my best car away.
Yeah, Greg said he goes it to his sponsors to try and end the day with the W. Early going here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Here at Homestead for the championship leader, Kurt Busch.
Right front flat, you heard it from the man, Kurt Busch.
And he's on the apron of the racetrack, Kurt. Not too fast because you can't control it. Bill?
Spotter tells the crew, coming to you just as fast as you can blink your eye.
Oh, and he loses the wheel. Wow. Or loses the tire.
And he just missed clobbering the end of that wall.
That's going to be a caution. That's actually good luck for him.
A long way to go, though, to get to his pit stall, the #1 stall, all the way at the end of pit road. They are ready for him. They are on the wall.
That's the wheel in there, isn't it?
Did the lug nuts come off?
It looks like the whole wheel came off.
And they're grinding that suspension, dragging it down the pit lane while he's running there.
Let's see what comes off. The center. There's the center. He just took off with the wheel.
Wow.
And you know what? I think that the tire's still going.
Tire over there.
I believe that he stayed on the lead lap.
He's out ahead of the pace car, Benny.
Watch if that tire turns. I believe the whole wheel came off. It just busted right out of the center.
What causes that?
I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, the center is gone. What normally causes that is loose lug nuts and the thing working back and forth.
But he never complained about a vibration. That is really strange. And he did stay on the lead lap.
Wonder what damage he might have done with all that stuff dragging down pit road, though. Brake rotors.
Yeah, you got
tie rod ends.
There's a lot of things. Exactly. You got a big, heavy race car that's just grinding all those pieces as you're trying to work your way into the pits.
We're on the lead lap. You can pit this time.
So now Kurt's back in 28th place, and there's the championship picture all of a sudden.
Hey, we've been saying it all along. It can change at any second.
Was gonna blow, dude. I just had that feeling. It was vibrating in here.
Okay, there he did say it was vibrating.
Loose, but it hadn't.
So he did notice it.
I think loose lug nuts was the culprit there.
That's when he talked about, remember when he went back out after they pitted, that's when he talked about, I don't like the way the right front feels.
Wow.
Here they come to pit road. Stops at lap 94, Marty.
Your leader, Greg Biffle Allen, said maybe we can free it up a little bit on this stop. He will be top of your screen. What they're going to do is a half pound out of the left rear tire and a half around the wedge. 4 tires, small changes for the 16 team. They're very happy, just a little bit tight. Matt?
Jeff Gordon had to pull around the 12 of Newman. You can see the orange tape on the pit box. That was where they put the sign to help the 48, 4 feet back from where they normally have it. Track bar and wedge to help the tightness, Bill.
48 car just a little bit tight. Kurt Busch pulls way up in his pit stall. That will help Jimmy Johnson, who's pitted behind him. Johnson leaves behind him. Now they go to work on the 97 of Busch. They've already changed the right side. They changed the right sides again, worked on the right front fender. Then they come around to the lefts and put on the left side. So Kurt was aware that right front was bothering him. Then it went. Now they pull the fender, the sheet metal away from that right front tire. Kurt very calm, very patient on the radio. They're going to try and beat it out with a hammer. They've got a tape bandage ready to slap it up there on the right front if they need it. They want to make sure that sheet metal is not rubbing against that tire when he goes back out on the racetrack. Now the question is going to be what caused that.
And Bill, they got to be concerned that the fender doesn't grab too much air as it goes by and act as a parachute.
So the first exclamation point moment on this day in the chase for the championship, Kurt Busch, lap 91. His right front tire, the wheel breaks. He narrowly misses the end of pit road, but he is still on the lead lap. Well, with a lot of yellow flags.
On the first lap, it starts when Hermie Sadler, the 02 car, gets bumped. Also, Mike Bliss running the 0.
Jimmy Johnson started 39th. He had to dodge that. And then this at lap 6. Jeff Burton. That was Boris Said who got spun to trigger the caution.
Seems like all the championship contenders have been dodging something. Here's Mark Martin.
Almost had a moment up in 3 and 4.
Almost had a wreck. Lap 93, Kurt Busch running second at the time.
Breaks a wheel. And watch this tire leave as he enters pit road. Almost runs in the pit wall. Man, that's close.
I think he even brushed it there. Looking at that again.
Very close.
So then they had a messed up pit stop back at lap 113. Dropped Kurt all the way back to 26th place in line. A little miscommunication as to whether it was a 2 or 4 tire change.
Then we get Elliott Sadler gets loose. Getting off a 4. Hard into the inside wall. Ended his day.
Junior follows that closely off turn 4 and saw that spin happen.
Just missed that one, then just missed this one, Junior did, as the pack comes down on Casey Kane's spinning car.
And Junior actually got in the back of Popple, the 06 car. There it is. Turned him in the inside wall and damaged the nose of the 8 car.
And then the strategy on top of that, the fuel mileage game that's being played now. What a race here in Homestead today. Our Napa Field summary. 11 caution flags, new record for this racetrack. Despite all those yellows, a rather low attrition rate. Just 5 cars out of the race. Quapple, Bliss, Shane Neal, Greg Sachs, and Casey Kane. Greg Biffle's done most of the leading on the day, but right now it is Rusty Wallace who's out in front with 63 laps to go.
Now, as they run, Busch is in front by 14 over Johnson and Jeff Gordon. Those cars, Johnson is running 22nd, Gordon 24th, and Kurt Busch 25th. If Kurt Busch can just keep those guys in front of him, 1 car length, 2 car lengths in front of him, he will be the next Nextel Cup champion.
Less than 100 miles at Homestead. Mark Martin 17th, Johnson 19th, Earnhardt Jr. 20th, Gordon 21st, Kurt Busch 22nd, and Rusty Wallace the race leader.
McMurray right behind him. Jamie McMurray in the 42.
Now if this thing goes green flag from here to the end, at 267, some cars will run out of fuel. Everyone will not make it.
Rusty Wallace has never finished better than 12th at this racetrack before. 1 win this season, Martinsville, Virginia, back in the spring. Now Tony Stewart, 3 wide.
Man, he's been doing that for the past 25, 30 laps.
Well, remember that black flag penalty. There's probably a little driving in
He's
anger.
on a mission. Yeah. He is on a mission.
Tony's in 9th, and he's trying to take 8th from John Andretti.
And here these guys, teammates racing again, all 3 of them.
Hey, they got by Mark Martin.
Yes, they did.
And Sterling Marlin in that black 40 car.
Jeff is going to make it 3 wide down there.
He hangs in there.
Ooh. And the 48's up high.
And Johnson's even higher.
I don't think I'd want to be up there either.
Yo, so look at
Busch going by Ken Schrader in the 49 car.
That is some hard racing right there. These guys know what they have to do right now.
It's going to be for about 16th place with Gordon and Johnson side by side. It is 16th and 17th.
Gordon trying him on the bottom again. Just can't do it.
And remember that Jeff has to finish in front of Jimmy because he started the day behind him by 3 points. And he loses the tiebreaker if he only finishes one spot in front of him, so he's got to finish a couple ahead of him if they're this far back in the pack.
I think Jimmy's had the better car most of the day. He just hasn't been able to show it because he's been in traffic all day long.
Jimmy closes the front.
Oh, very loose there. Very loose.
Here comes Jeff.
And that's all it took for Jeff to get at least beside him.
Johnson decided to follow John Andretti in the 14 car through the corner, and he had to slow up a little bit. When he did, Gordon just drove up on the inside. Now Johnson drives to the inside as Rick Hendrick watches his car go down in turn 1.
There's a lot of trust between drivers right here to be able to race each other this hard, this close. You got to trust who you're driving with.
I mean, these are two cars that work in the same building.
Oh, Johnson decided not to take it 3 wide, and Gordon takes a spot away from Jimmy.
And John Andretti.
Martin taking a look. Yep, underneath Jimmy Johnson. He's got the spot too. You want to be on the inside. That's the 24 driving away from him, Matty.
Both Chad Canals and Robbie Loomis were joking around today saying if either the 24 or 48 teams wins this championship, both teams, because they are one team together, will stay over and celebrate. Robbie put on sticker, meaning brand new tires, because this weekend a lot of drivers have said sticker tires make the car more free, and that's exactly what Jeff needs to make this run for the championship.
Jeff Gordon's next car to pass will be that 25 of Brian Vickers,
which he gets a lot of help from. Brian just backs out of the throttle and makes the pass easy for Jeff, since they are teammates.
So that one position between he and Jimmy Johnson is going to put Jeff in front of Jimmy in the points, but Kurt Busch is still ahead of them overall. Kurt's running back in 20th spot right now. That's for 15th place, Mark Martin.
Yep, gonna try to take the spot from Jimmy Johnson. Boy, he's right down on the bottom. Mark's car looks pretty good, Marty.
Getting better the longer he runs, Wally. Now, I've never driven a race car, but there's a radio hung open in Mark Martin's crew somewhere. So Mark hears this white noise in his ear, and it's very distracting. It's starting to bother Mark, and I'm sure that's taking his focus away a little bit from what he's having to do in driving the race car.
Yep, you got to either unplug your helmet or turn the radio off, because that is very, very distracting when you're driving a race car. Spotters are important, but you know what? I'd rather do it without a spotter than have that blast into my ear every lap.
And right now, as we watch Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson march forward, Jeff Gordon right now 2 points behind Kurt Busch. 2 points.
There's Brian Vickers with the move over and waves his teammate Jimmy Johnson by. Now Gordon going to work on Scott Wimmer for 12. What about the leader, Kurt Busch, as far as the championship?
He has been struggling trying to get by these cars, and that didn't help anything there as the 15 and 97 made contact.
He obviously felt the 15 should give him a little bit of room. He's driving pretty aggressive there, Bill.
And if they don't give you room, Wally, what do?
You hit him.
You take it, right? Absolutely. When Kurt Busch left pit road under the last caution, he talked to his crew chief, Jimmy Fetting. Kurt said, I'm done with you guys for today. Jimmy said, just stay out there and get all you can get. He's looking at the inside. Burns.
And going to the inside is Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's been his nemesis today because his car has been so loose. That's one of the reasons why they made that second pit stop under this caution to make sure that the car was not loose, because when you get by those other cars, it gets looser. Now he's in free air, Walt.
Well, Kurt Busch passing cars and He's got to get by Earnhardt.
That was big right there.
Yeah,
Those
I mean, there was
passes
a
you just
lot of
saw.
cars just in a bunch.
That's right, because he got 2 positions, and that's 6 points.
He got John Andretti and Michael Waltrip in that set of corners. And so that puts Kurt up to 19th place.
But that's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to get by these cars and get in some clean air so he can go as he takes the spot from Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That's going to change that.
And that's going to change that, exactly.
That makes him 8 points in front of Jeff Gordon.
Every single spot is so important, right? Every one of these drivers knows it now, too. They have got to drive harder than they've driven all year, these next 47 laps.
Now, Jeff Gordon, all right, let's check on the lead first. Greg Biffle is after Rusty Wallace.
That 2 car has been very, very good, although the 16 has been as good. Marty, can the 16 make it on fuel?
They cannot, BP. They're going to have to pit one more time. Greg came on the radio into the last caution and said, you know what? Our only hope is if we get a caution with 25 to go, get 4 new tires and the fuel we need, that's our only chance to win the race. He's anxious to get to the front because he said, in traffic, this car is just terrible. I can't do anything with it when I'm behind other cars. And you see the trouble he's having passing Rusty Wallace, but he has a faster car.
And that's with every car, Marty, because that's just the way these cars are nowadays. You've got to be out front. You don't want anybody in front of you. If nobody's in front of you, your car works the best it ever will. But when you're in traffic and other cars are disturbing that air around you, they just don't handle as well.
Yeah, Biffle did catch Rusty in a hurry, but that's it. He's kind of stalled out there.
He's losing the nose. He can't turn down. He's trying to turn down underneath Rusty, but that air's being stolen from the front of that car, so he slides up the racetrack.
Now that helps when he can turn under him coming off the corner. He does get some air on the nose of the car. When he's falling directly behind, he's in trouble.
Matt Kenseth bailing out there, letting those cars racing for position go by him. That's a race for 4th and 5th. Brian Newman, Bobby Labonte, 12 and 18. And also 3rd place, Jamie McMurray in the 42, just ahead of them.
McMurray's been hanging in there.
Kurt Busch has just picked up another spot. He got by Dale Jr. and Brian Vickers.
That puts him up to the 17th position.
And just turned the fastest lap.
Caution flag is out.
That is Jeff Green.
And that was big time engine failure. Saw fire under the cars.
Well, that's what Wallace and Biffle and McMurray and all those guys up front, that's what they needed.
Needed the pace car to come out and slow the field down and let them make up the ground. They were down to those guys out front. But now...
Well, I mean the guys out front that need to stop and get some fresh tires on and put fuel in.
Yeah, pit and get those cars out from in front of them.
Yep.
The question is, who is going to gamble? Who is going to stay on the racetrack and not make that pit stop?
Kurt Busch, that last was the fastest of that. That lap was the fastest for him. So right now he's got a good race car. It's working good. I would be surprised if they came in and made a pit stop.
It's going to be a minute before they can make that decision because pit road is closed. Jeff Green, when you saw him hang a left down off the racetrack, went across that pit exit road. And they want to make sure he didn't drop any oil. Somebody come off a pit road after stop and spin out, leaving the pit road.
But it may be monkey see, monkey do, too.
Yeah.
You know. There's the oil dry on the outside. The cars are running through. Makes it a little bit slick, but not too bad.
Especially on the guys that didn't pit and have the hot tires.
Yeah.
Gordon. He's going for the 29 car of Harvick. If he gets by him, he's in the lead.
Harvick's lost a couple of spots there in that restart.
Ricky Rudd got by him. That's Rudd in the 21. He's going to move up to 5th. So Jeff Gordon now runs 4th. Kurt Busch has moved up a spot. He took 9th away from Sterling Marlin. And he's right behind Jimmy Johnson in the running order.
There they are.
But he can't just rest there, because if Jeff Gordon keeps moving up, Kurt needs more points.
He's got to pass some more cars.
I'm telling you, this thing's going to come down to the last lap. Somebody's going to pass somebody on the last lap to win this championship. How does it look now?
Different.
4-point lead.
So that means if Jeff Gordon passes one car and Kurt Busch doesn't move up anymore, Gordon goes into the championship lead.
By 1 point.
Now, Gordon's got some distance right now between his car and Dale Jarrett's car.
Yeah, he got caught back in some of the traffic there trying to make that pass. What was that, on Kevin Harvick?
Right. Slowed him up just a little bit.
And the bad news, that last lap, he was slower than the first 3 cars.
Now, if these guys get to racing, Jeff Gordon will catch him, because he's in clean air by himself, and those 2 guys, or more guys up in front, run side by side. But that was a pretty clean pass there by...
Yeah, it was on a slower car.
Yeah.
Joe Nemechek's not on the
Trying
lead
to get
lap.
hung up there.
How about this race for the lead? Tony Stewart working Ryan Newman.
This is outstanding. Tony Stewart turns under. This could not quite get him turned well enough.
A little bit loose.
Tony Stewart was the race leader on the lap 170 restart when he was black flagged by NASCAR for not stopping, weaving his car beyond turn 3 where you're supposed to knock it off. Went all the way back to 26th.
Here he comes for the lead.
And Stewart was doing everything he could to get that 12 car a little bit loose up in 3 and 4. Got the spot. Oh, and he slides up high. Here comes a 12 underneath him.
Little crossover.
Oh, that's good racing. Dave, what's Tony Stewart saying about his car?
Nothing. He's driving too hard right now, Wally. Now, they took 4 tires on a lap 200 stop. And remember, Tony visited this track while it was being reworked. Matt told us that story last year. He did so well his rookie year, winning the race here, then the year following, but that was on the old flag configuration. He's gotten to know the bank configuration pretty well.
And you really wouldn't see this kind of racing on the old configuration. This is what this racetrack was built for.
Bill, how about Ryan Newman? What are they saying?
He's in that Tony Stewart category. A little busy to push that radio button, but they have worked on this car all day, Benny. First loose, then a little tight, then working with 4 tires, and then with 2 tires, they got him out front. They caught cautions to get him in the fuel window. Now racing Stewart for the win.
And as those guys are racing,
Dale Jarrett, we might all start talking about that 88 car.
It's allowed Jeff Gordon to chop some ground down also on this front 3.
fastest car that last lap, Jeff Gordon.
There he was.
Gordon 4th, Johnson 8th, Kurt Busch 9th. Kurt leads by about 4 points right now. That's 4 positions. Scott Wimmer in the 22 is running 7th rather was. Johnson's got that now, and now Kurt needs to get by him to keep up. Couldn't do it. Not yet. Yikes.
Still 4 points.
And Jimmy Johnson does not want to see the 97 in his mirror. He wants to see that 97 disappear in his mirror if he's going to have a shot at beating Kurt Busch in the championship.
Kurt Busch on the inside of Wimmer takes that spot away.
Jimmy tried to put a run on Kevin Harvick. Kevin shut him off.
And Kurt knows, on the other hand, he's got to keep Jimmy Johnson in sight.
Johnson by Harvick, and that's for 6th.
The only guy he can't see the 24. Matt?
Jeff Gordon doing all he can do, trying to give owner Rick Hendrick the 6th championship as an owner. He just keyed the mic and said, guys, that's all I have. That's all I can give you. Right now, it is just pushing so hard in the center of the corner. Robbie said, would it help if we got the 0-1 out of the way in front of you? Jeff keyed back and said, anything would help.
And the 0-1 gets help from Hendrick Motorsports. That's right. Joe Nemechek.
And the MB2 team using Hendrick engines, Hendrick chassis. And Joe again running in 31st place, a few laps off the pace. This is for 7th place. Kurt Busch trying to get around Kevin Harvick. If he passes him, it's 4 more points to the good for Kurt.
Ooh, drives in there a little bit hard, Benny, and slides up the racetrack.
And I'll tell you what, we have seen Kurt Busch this year do 3 times come off these corners like this. at the California Speedway and lose control, spin out by himself.
Challenge for the lead. Ryan Newman back to the inside of Tony Stewart.
And Kurt Busch trying to take by the 29 car.
Oh, wow, Newman slipped up a little bit.
But so did Tony Stewart. Bill Weber.
That 12 car's loose. That's why he slipped up. In fact, a few laps ago, he said it was too loose for him. Maybe it's getting better.
He's got the lead. That's better. And Kurt Busch got through Kevin Harvick.
And life is good for Kurt Busch right now. He's by the 29 car. He has clean racetrack in front of him. And about 8 points to play with. Yeah, between himself and Jeff Gordon.
Oh, gee, that's a comfort margin. What a day for Kurt Busch.
And he's got a clean racetrack in front of him, too. For a little while, anyway.
Way back at lap 91, he was running second. The right front wheel broke on his car. Literally came off as he was trying to get to pit road. He barely missed hitting the butt end of pit wall, but when that tire came off, it brought the caution flag out. He was able to get a new tire put on without losing the lead lap.
That was big that the tire came off, went on the racetrack, and caused the caution flag to come out.
Might be what won him a championship. Certainly helped.
Now, you know he's doing everything he can, but I still think you'd want to know, or at least get some encouragement for the pits on, okay, am I good? How much more do I have to do? Do I have to push it harder? Am I riding in a good spot? Because I'm running a comfortable pace right now. This is one of those lot of anxiety for a race car driver in this situation right now for Kurt Busch.
So there's the leader, Newman. Second place, Stewart. Third place, Jarrett. Here comes Gordon. He's running fourth. There's Johnson, who just passed Rudd for fifth. We saw Kurt Busch come through in seventh.
There's Mark, 6 car.
Mark Martin is currently back in the 18th position. And 8-car Junior is back in 21st.
So the 2-tire call on that last caution hadn't worked out for them.
And right now the NASCAR folks have to be happy because the Dodge is leading, the Chevrolet is in second, the Ford is in third.
And Jeff Gordon, we heard the report from his pit a minute ago, said that's all he's got. So unless Kurt Busch starts to slip back, Jeff Gordon needs to find a way to get a little more.
Dave, is somebody going to run out of gas?
BP, it's a possibility with the 88. Now, they think they can go all the way, but they pit last on lap 192. We've had a lot of caution, but 75 laps is still a lot to ask here. Dale Jarrett running strong in third, but I would say close on fuel. If he drops back, that could be another position for Gordon.
You know who else last pitted on lap 192? Guy leading the race.
Yeah, I just don't think the fuel situation is completely gone. I think some of these guys may run out of fuel.
Ryan Newman at 192. Tony Stewart pitted at 200.
Bill, about the 12s, can he make it?
Yeah, they said, especially with the caution laps, Benny, that they would be all right. But if there's one team you know you got to take with a grain of salt, it's Borland in that 12 bunch, don't you?
Yeah, but then again, if there's one team that's proven they can get the fuel to the finish a lot of times, that was a story at the end of last season, wasn't it? They won all those races at the end of last year by finding a way to stay on the track and get their track position when everybody else had to come in.
All right, now Kurt Busch is taking a look at Ricky Rudd in the 21 car, and there's Biffle right behind Kurt Busch.
All right, that's 4 points for Kurt to the good.
Now, you know Biffle wants to win the race for his team and his sponsors, but does he pass?
Oh, yes. He's going to pass Kurt Busch simply because that Busch. See, there you go. Jimmy Phoenix said, let the 16 go. They realize that's not the championship move. If something were to happen later on, Biffle may have to back up. But right now, let him go. Bill?
Benny, before they went back to this green flag session, Kurt Busch said, I want to know where we're at, how many to go, what our positions are. So when Jimmy Benny told him to let the 16 go, he knows that's okay to do. Although, I'm not sure he's going to follow instructions.
I think he will right here, because if you know what, if you want some, that's his ace in the hole right there, is having somebody in front of him. So he knows at least he's got one guy that he's going to gain a position if he needs it, if it comes right down to it, before the end of the race.
Plus, trouble, Martin Truex Jr.
right rear tire is disintegrating on that one car and blowing the quarter-pound off, and caution flag is out. This might be the break that Greg Biffle needs to win the race.
15 laps to go.
They're going to have to hurry if he's got a chance to win the race.
This is also going to close up Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Kurt Busch together on the restart.
And it's going to make things frantic. Just frantic in the final laps.
I think Jimmy Fenning is... he's had it.
Oh,
he
man.
wants it to be over.
He's aged.
Staying out. We only got 15 laps to go right there. Staying out.
He's aged a dozen years in a day.
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking about when they let the 16 go, when Kurt Busch let Greg Biffle go, I think they maybe also felt like that Biffle had enough speed to go up and catch Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, and if he could put them another spot farther back,
Well,
that's...
You know what? Biffle's going to be... He's going to be roughing it up right now with Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, because those two cars are directly ahead of him, and you know Biffle's going to race them hard.
And he should have better tires on his 16 car than those cars have.
To go.
Here goes Gordon, diving to the inside of Jarrett, inside of Tony Stewart.
And he's got an even check down on the bottom. He's going to be blocked.
And Biffle to the inside by Johnson, looking for a spot on...
He's blocked. He turns Joe, gets Joe sideways.
And here comes Kurt Busch diving for the bottom.
Great move. Great move by the 24. Biffle can't make it happen that time.
9 laps to go. Jeff Gordon is 4th. Jimmy Johnson is 5th.
Greg Biffle tries to look on the outside. He's there. Outside of Jimmy Johnson. Takes the spot.
Big help for Kurt Busch.
Yep.
Now Kurt running just a couple of spots behind Johnson.
If Kurt Busch, the 97 car, if he can stay there, the championship is his.
Kurt lost a spot on that restart. Brendan Gaughan got by him. The 77 car, the yellow machine there.
And there goes Biffle on the outside of Jeff Gordon. Takes that spot.
So Greg Biffle on the opening lap of the race yielded to Kurt Busch. They started on the front row together, let Kurt lead a lap for 5 bonus points, and now he's helping out his teammate in another way.
And now Kurt can see the two guys in front of him. He can see Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson.
Well, maybe not right now down the front stretch.
Now he can't. Nobody can see anything down the front stretch, but now he can see them.
Yeah.
Brendan Gaughan in between. Brendan will probably let Kurt Busch go.
So close. And it's got to be so agonizing for Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson to look in that rearview mirror and see that 97 car hanging with them.
There, Kurt Busch goes on the inside of Brendan Gaughan. He'll take that spot away. Perfect spot for Kurt Busch. There's a 48-24 directly in front of him.
See the competition.
Kurt to 7th. What a rally for this 97 team in this race from the big problems they had earlier back at lap 91. Fell all the way to 28th at the time. Then had another long pit stop, fell to 26th. And they've come back into the top 10.
And he's come back a few times this year. Those guys have turned their day around.
Kurt Busch is saying, please let this be over.
Biffle taking a look underneath Jarrett for the 3rd spot.
Biffle might end up winning this
Yeah, I was
race.
going to say, he is flying right now.
4 laps to go.
He's got the spot.
A lot of ground to make up to catch Newman and Stewart, but boy, he is hauling. Greg Biffle's led the most laps today. And right now, all eyes on the championship. And Kurt Busch in position. But remember, this race last year, Bill Elliott had the race won on the final lap. blew a tire. By the time he came across the finish line, he'd lost 33 points.
And it's not like we haven't seen some flat tires today.
There's only 19 points between the top two. Now, Ryan Newman,
the leader.
Caution flag is out.
We're going to have a green light checker.
Sure looks that way.
Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch behind Tony Stewart and Greg Biffle. Who wins and who wins the title?
Tony brought him down. Pretty nice. Here they go.
Gordon looking for second on Biffle.
With Biffle.
And Biffle looking for the lead on Tony Stewart. Johnson 3 wide to the outside.
How about that move for Biffle? Hung on to it and took the lead at the same time.
And Kurt Busch making sure they all don't end up in a smoking pile.
Jimmy Johnson second. Jeff Gordon trying outside Tony Stewart. Will he get it? I think he will when he gets down on the straightaway. Got the momentum.
White flag, 1 lap to go. Look at this. Kurt might get challenged by some of these guys coming up behind him.
He certainly doesn't need to lose those positions.
Jimmy Johnson to second. Jeff Gordon third. Kurt Busch in fifth and trying to hang on to that spot. If he stays there, he wins the title.
You may see a Hail Mary here by the 20 car, right on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon. Don't think he can do it.
Checkered flag is up. Greg Biffle wins the Ford 400 at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon finish second and third. It's not going to be enough. Kurt Busch is the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion.
Tell me about the pass on Tony Stewart and the contact with Jeff Gordon.
Well, I just, man, I almost hit Tony there. He must have ran out of gas on the restart. And, you know, it's been a long year. And I'm going to miss a good friend of mine, Randy Dorton. And I want to dedicate this win to him and all those guys. Congratulations to Kurt. And these 16 team and me as a driver, we got something to prove next year. And, man, it's just really good. And the soldiers, man, they've just done so much for our country. And we think about them all the time. And General Schultz here this weekend and everybody. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. And just exciting. Good day for Roush Racing. And, man, I wish my family and everybody could be here with me.
And here comes Kurt Busch in front of his fans, friends, and crew at Homestead. The 2004 Nextel Cup Series champion. He won the chase. He doesn't care how heavy it is. He could hold it forever.
You're not part of my team.
I'm just here to hang out with you. Kurt, congratulations. You're the 2004 Series champion.
Unbelievable deal. This is what a team does to win a championship. They persevere on a day such as this. All year long, we've done things like this. Whether we put ourselves in a hole or whether we had a small problem, I just can't believe we were able to overcome all of that turmoil today.
Tell me about, first of all, the right front wheel.
Again, it had a big vibration those last 50 laps, and it held on. But I'd like to put a cap on today and move on to what we did this year as a team, which was unbelievable. And this championship is for Jimmy Fleming. I can't believe it. For our team, for everybody that's put work into this car, Jimmy's done the deal. And that's why I'm choked up, is because there's heavy hearts in the NASCAR community with what we had to go through a few weeks ago. And with Hendrick and the problem they had. I love them truly, and I want to donate anything that I can from this championship to them. And my little brother was affected by this, so it hit home for us. So unbelievable.
His brother drives for Hendrick Motorsports in the Busch Series. A refreshing drink. and a deep breath. It'll take a while to set in, but you'll have a big celebration in New York with these hard-working guys up here on stage, won't you?
It's unbelievable for our sponsors and everybody that gets a chance to come to New York.
And that Jack Roush guy?
Unbelievable. Jack is just a true competitor. He is a racer from the word go, and that's what I modeled myself after when I got to this point. And he's helped me get to this point. I was so far behind in 2001, made so many mistakes. My sponsor stuck with me. We got some great associate sponsors, and we pulled through.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Bill.
And the final margin after 14,456 miles of racing that started February 15th at Daytona.